Consider the data set given in the accompanying table. We want to complete parts A through C. For the values of x, we have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. For the values of y, we have -3, -2, 0, 2, and 5. In part A, we're going to draw a scatter diagram treating x as the explanatory variable and y as the response variable. Section 4.2 RA1. Consider the data set given in the accompanying table. We want to complete parts A through C. For the values of x, we have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. For the values of y, we have -3, -2, 0, 2, and 5. In part A, we want to draw a scatter diagram treating x as the explanatory variable and y as the response variable. So, if we wanted to find our locations of our first order pair, we have the value is -2 for x and -3 for y. So if we start at the 0 and we move to the left 2 units and then down 3 units, then we have our first ordered pair, which is -2, -3. And then our next order pair is -1, -2, so we're going to go to the left, -1, and then down 2 units. So we have -1 and then -2. And then our next order pair is 0, 0, so there is our point 0, 0. And then we have the next one, which is 1, 2, so we're going to move to the right 1 unit and then up 2 units. So therefore, there is our ordered pair at 1, 2. And then the last one here is at 2, 5. So we move to the right 2 units and then up 5. And so therefore, there is our point 2, 5. So that represents our scatter diagram. Now, how would we do this on statcrunch? Well, on statcrunch, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and over here, we're going to click on the data set and then open it up in statcrunch. Okay, so here's our data set. We have x being the explanatory variable and y being the response variable. So we're going to go ahead and select graph, and then we're going to go ahead and select scatter plot. So now that we select scatter plot, we're going to make sure that the x variable is the variable for x, and the y variable is going to be the variable for y. Okay, and then if we scroll down a little further, then the next thing that we want to do is just make sure that we have our horizontal and vertical lines selected. So let's go ahead and select compute. Okay, now here we see that this is the scatter plot. Now what we may want to do is we may want to just change the look of our y and x increments. And by doing that, we can select our x-axis to go from the minimum. Let's say we can go from, to represent this, -6 and then +6. Okay, so that'll represent our x-axis. Okay, and then we can also then change the y by selecting the y-axis here. And then we can make that to be also, let's say, -6 and make the maximum +6. And so therefore, there is our scatter diagram. So if we want to do this in statcrunch, this is what our graph would look like, which is very similar to what we did over here. Now keep in mind that you can see here that this point represents 0, 0. So if we draw the horizontal axis here and then the vertical axis here, then we have the same graph that we have to our left. Okay, next we want to find the equation of the line containing the points -2, -3, and 2, 5. So we're going to call the first one x1, and then this one's going to be y1. This is going to be x2, and then this is going to be y2. So in order to find the slope of the line containing the 2 points, we're going to use our slope formula. We're going to say that m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So m is going to equal 5, which is y2, and then we're going to subtract y1, which is negative 3, and then we're going to take x2, which is 2, and then subtract x1, which is negative 2. So what happens here is you end up getting 5 plus 3, which is 8, divided by 2 plus 2, which is 4. And so therefore 8 divided by 4 is going to give us 2. So now m is going to equal 2. So our slope is going to equal 2. Okay, now that we've found our slope, now we need to use the point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 to find the equation of the line through the points x1, y1, and x2, y2. Now we can use either one of these ordered pairs, but what we can do is we can use x1 to be negative 2, and we can use y1 to be negative 3. So now here we have our point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So it's going to be y minus y1, which is negative 3, which is equal to the slope, which we found in the first part is 2, times x minus x1, which is negative 2. And now we need to simplify the signs here. So this is minus a negative 3, which becomes y plus 3, which is equal to 2. This is x minus a negative 2, which becomes x plus 2. And then we distribute the 2 to both of these terms. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is plus 4. And now we want to solve for y by subtracting 3 to both sides. So we get the equation y equals 2x plus 1. Okay, now in part C it says, graph the line found in part B on the scatter diagram. Well, recall that the line contains the points negative 2, negative 3, 2, and 5. So we have negative 2, negative 3, 2, and 5. So basically what we can do by hand is by just drawing a line that's going to connect the through, let's see here, negative 2, 3, and 5. And then we want to make sure that, our graph also has arrows pointing the fact that that's where your line is going. So therefore, if we want to do that by hand, we can just graph by connecting those 2 points. Okay, because this represents the line of best fit. Now, if we wanted to draw this line on statcrunch, okay, we're going to look at the equation y equals 2x plus 1. Now, when you put this in statcrunch, okay, you put it in this form. So technically, you're going to write y, and this C0 is going to represent the number 1, plus C1 is going to represent the number 2, and then that's times x. So here we say that C0 equals 1, and then C1 is 2. What that means is the coefficient of the constant is 1, the coefficient of x is 2. So let's go ahead and open up statcrunch again. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and graph this again. So we're going to select graph and then go down to scatter plot. So we're going to select again the x variable is the x, y is y, and then we're going to come down here and then where it says overlay polynomial order. So where you see this overlay polynomial order, well, it's an order of 1. The reason why it's 1 is because it has a 1 degree. And then over here, you see where it says y equals C0 plus C1 times x. And we're going to select that option. And then C0, we know is 1. So we're going to put in 1. And then C1 is going to be the value of 2. Do not put the variable x because it also already includes x. Okay. And then the only thing I'm going to include here, again, are my horizontal and vertical lines. And then select compute. And now you can see that the graph now shows the line of best fit. So now that we can see that the line of best fit is included in here, now if we want to change our x and y axis, again, let's go ahead and down here and select x axis, And we're going to make the minimum be -6, which is over here. And then we can make this to be +6 and then hit OK. So you can see how that's expanded a little further. And then we're going to go ahead and select the y-axis. And so we know that it goes all the way up to 6 here and down to -6. So we're going to start at -6 for the minimum. We're going to let the maximum be +6 and then select OK. And now when we go ahead and then take a look at our graph, we can see that it now resembles the same graph that we just graphed. And remember that we know that the origin is at 0, 0 here. So then therefore there would be our horizontal line and then our vertical line. And we can see that our graph matches what we did by hand.